brought to you almost live from the Dude in the Basement studios. Why? Because that's where the good stuff is. It's Sips, Suds, and Smokes with your smoking host, the good old boys. Suds, Suds, Suds. It's time for more Suds.
Hey everyone, are you ready for another sippin'? Get it?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Wow. Do we have to pay like $9.99 a minute?
I don't know what kind of sippins you've been to, sir.
The good kind.
Wow, $9.99. I think you're getting off cheap on that.
Oh.
Ooh, I get the bells.
Yes.
Ding, ding.
Welcome everyone to another Sud segment where really good beer meets really bad radio. With me today, again, is good old boy Dave.
By the power of Grayskull.
Yes.
Wow.
It's pretty monstrous.
That is a monstrous entrance, isn't it?
He doesn't say anything anymore, does he?
No, he doesn't.
No.
That's because he has the soundboard and
Yeah.
he does what he wants.
He does.
Yeah, that he does.
He runs that thing.
He does.
It's true.
It's nice when he doesn't talk.
Good old boy Caperton.
There you go. There you go. Obviously, my reputation precedes.
Nice to have you. Nice to have you here. Good old boy Sparky.
I'm just glad that as part of my parole conditions that I'm allowed to participate in these events. Thank you.
Even though we are within 100 yards of a school.
It's
Well-
true. But it's not that kind of school.
Oh no, it's the other. Yeah.
School of fish.
And good old boy Tim.
Yeah, it's hard to hear you. The ankle bracelet Sparky's wearing keeps going off.
Beeping. It's beeping.
It's true. It's for the greater good.
Oh, nice. And I'm good old gal Julieanna, and here we are yet again.
Here we are.
Hello.
Hey,
Hooray.
Hey.
It's a greeting from the old country. What,
Huzzah.
are you not familiar with Hooray?
That's the second show greeting.
I saw you had that needle pointed in your bathroom. Hooray.
Let us all say hello.
Yeah,
Hooray.
exactly. Okay, today's episode is a bottle share. How cool is that? So each host has brought a bottle or two.
Serve that for Seul and Tommy.
Exactly. Each host has brought a bottle or two that they have wanted to share with the group for a while, or maybe since yesterday. So we can try it and give our tasting notes. Dave, why don't you give us the Suds rating so we can get into some beer?
Sure, we'll be discussing and rating these beers with these Suds ratings, plus our signature belching sounds. Here are those ratings now. Number 1, that sucks. Give me anything but Tim. 2,
Rude.
was that a belch? 3, what a relief. There we go. 4, a body should really not make that Tim. And 5, listen to that hang time. Give me another. Not Tim.
Aww.
I don't know what to say.
Timmy boy, we do love you.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
You guys aren't coming to my birthday party.
Taking my football and going home.
Well, this Suds episode is brought to you by...
The law offices of Scratchers J. Scratcherton. Are you a kitty? Do you need an attorney? Call the law offices of Scratchers J. Scratcherton. Scratchers J. Scratcherton, attorney at law. She'll fight for her clients and give injustice the claw.
Yeah.
Scratchers J. Scratcherton is not licensed to practice law in any state.
Meow.
All right, good deal. So now let's get to the beer. Good old boy Dave, why don't you kick it off? What did you bring to the table today, sir?
A beer?
A beer.
I see you got the memo.
Hey, this is not my first rodeo.
Well, this is a sipping.
So I brought the Duality of Funk
By
by the Bond Brothers Brewing in Cary, North Carolina.
It's a lot of alliteration.
Yes. This is a Brett IPA comprised, ooh, that's a big word for North Carolina, of unmalted wheat, golden naked oats. Oh, they are so naked. Flaked rye and Pilsner malt with plenty of Simcoe, El Dorado, and Azaka hops. We first fermented the beer. Well, that's a good idea. With our house saison blend. Then put it through a secondary fermentation in a foeder. It looks like foeder, everybody, but it's foeder.
Big wooden tank.
With one of our blends of Brettanomyces. The beer was finally finished by fermenting a third time in the bottle with orange blossom honey.
That's a lot of work.
Wow.
It is 7.1%, which I would argue almost makes it a double IPA.
Yeah.
So now tasting it. This is me tasting it. I believe that the orange blossom honey is a very prevalent flavor in it. There's a nice sweetness and you get a little bit of citrus. It's a very Brett forward beer, obviously. I'm not sure I pick up a lot from the foeder, but one of you guys probably do because you're all foodies. So anyways, but I thought this was a really cool beer and a good example of a Brett IPA. And I gave this beer a 4.
Good old boy Caperton, what'd you think of this beer?
When I had it at first, my last sip was my best. I think it was a little too cold at first for me. And I got primarily a truckload of funk there. And I still did there to the end, but the honey definitely came through early on as well. And as well after it warmed up a little bit, I did get a little bit more maybe of, some fruitiness from the hops, as it warmed. But yeah, I thought it was just super funky though. I mean, I don't know if this had aged for a while. It did not, it didn't gush or anything, like some of the other beers. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with it. I'm not familiar with the brewery at all, but I gave it, are we rating? Am I rating?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. I'll give it a 3.
Good.
Wonderful.
Good old boy Sparky, what'd you think of this beer?
So on the nose, I think it was a little bit cold when I first had it, but I got some sour, some funk, a little bit of spiciness, and maybe a little bit of acetic acid. When I tasted it, about 2/3 of the way through mid-palate, you just got smacked around with Brett. You had some nice citrus in there and a nice creamy mouthfeel. I'm sure the citrus was from the hops, but yeah, very, very pleasurable. I enjoyed it quite a lot. It's a lot better than Singularity of Funk. I'm going to give it a 4. I'll be thank you. I'll be Eeek. Try the veal.
Singularity.
I know. Cut up. I know, right?
Gosh.
I think it sucks.
Good boy Tim, what'd you think of this fine beer?
Well, echo a lot of the same things. The creamy body of it, not quite silky, but creamy. It was
silky
tasty. The one thing, maybe it's an issue I have with the style of a Brett IPA, but there's something about like the dryness of a Brett beer along with like the dry lingering hop bitterness of an IPA that I don't think always lend themselves too well to each other.
Too dry?
Too dry. That's what I think of it. I think dry hop is maybe a better way to go with Brett IPA type stuff. But this one, it just finishes too dry for me overall. So I gave it a rating of a 3.
Julieanna.
I liked it, but I had a hard time realizing that the IPA was the base of this.
Yeah.
It just seemed more just as a Brett beer. I mean, if you didn't tell me what it was, I would have thought that this is just a nice little Brett. It's got a little honey in it. It's got a little citrus in it. Maybe they threw something in. I just didn't it was more bready than it was IPA. But that being said, in terms of a Brett beer, it was really nice. It was creamy. It was light, very quaffable, very drinkable, and something I would expect from a funky Brett beer. I gave this a 3. And that's the end of that.
Yeah. One and done.
One and
There
done.
you go.
But we're not done.
One and
Out.
done. No,
We're not
we
even
got
close.
miles to
Thanks,
go.
everybody.
We're just getting started.
I'd like to thank all of our co-hosts for
For tasting this one beer and then saying
Yes.
goodbye.
Yeah. No.
There'll be 40 minutes of silence. Please enjoy.
the best part of the show.
Oh my gosh. Stop. Moving on. Good old boy Caperton, what did you bring to the table?
Goody. I brought a beer that that I've had on the shelf for a little while, just waiting for the right time to open it up. And it is from Logsdon. What do they call themselves? I'm sure it's Artisan Ales. Farmhouse Ales. I should have known this. Logsdon Farmhouse Ale in Oregon there, Hood River, Oregon. And I brought the oak-aged Bretta, which is the oak-aged version of their Saison Bretta.
I would not have gotten that from the name.
I know, but it is that probably what would be their base beer. I'm guessing, right? I mean that it's Saison with a Z, you know.
Oh.
And
That's fancy.
And just really quickly, their little write up on the back of the bottle. It is their organic oak aged Bretta, made from their Saison Bretta that is aged for a period of time to develop the wood aged character in the beer, the tannins, the vanilla notes, and subtle smoky spiciness, and often mellow this beer over time.
That sounds yummy. And after the brief interlude, we will get to it.
Yeah.
Rolling clouds and crashing surf, iridescent dunes reflecting by the light of a rising, glowing moon. Seashore mesmerizing, night breeze hypnotizing. We've come across these back roads none too soon. Look to the left, to the right. Keep your eyes on the road, my darling. Wondering if we're only passing through. Open roads and open windows. My hand is yours forever, sweet love.
Welcome back, everyone. So, besides us talking about indigenous names from Mount Hood,
Yep.
we're going to talk about a beer from that region.
That's right.
Yes, I know. It's crazy. So, good old boy Caperton has a beer from Logsdon Farmhouse.
Again, Logsdon Farmhouse, founded by Dave Logsdon, the founder of yeast for the home brewers out there. So, what up? Yeah, pretty good stuff across the board, probably from old Dave. I don't think he's involved in it anymore, but with this beer, it is just gorgeous to me. I could drink this stuff by the tub for sure. It had a nice fruity nose on it, despite the barrel and the Brett. That really wasn't what jumped out at me so much when I was just giving this a little sniff. It's nice and cloudy, like you would expect from a Saison. Not so much concerned with the clarity. But I got a lot of lemon and apple and pear. I mean, just super complex, oaky funk. It was a little maybe slicker than it was creamy for me. But it was carved up really nicely. In fact, it was just a little bit of a gusher. Very light malt, super dry, super balanced. Just kind of a textbook beer for me. And I'm going to give this beer a 5. Boom. Why not? Why not?
No one can stop him.
What about Sparky?
Can try.
What did you think of this beer?
I thought it was excellent, and I can imagine like this would be a fantastic beer if you were hanging with your Mount Hood rats. I think.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, on the nose, I got stone fruits, almost like a smokiness.
Yeah.
Then on the palate, tasting it, bread smokiness. I picked up some more like stone fruits, I think, off of it. Maybe when it was colder, and there's this wonderful, nice, crisp finish. The wood was very subtle. Almost. I mean, it was there, but it was not like I was chewing on a piece of oak, which is what sometimes happens to some barrel aged beers. But very nice, very bright. I'm going to give it a 4 overall.
Good old boy Tim, what did you think of this beer?
The biggest thing for me about this beer is the balance of everything. I mean, it was hard in our tasting. It was next to the Bond Brothers, which is a Brett IPA, but they're like the two Brett forward beers of our flight, and they were, just almost night and day difference. And that kind of made me think about how much the oak is lending to this overall blend too. It just seems like, I guess, the saison with the Z base flavor, add some Brett, and then the oak. It just seems like the right amount of time. There's this like great fruitiness from the oak. Yeah, I don't know. If you find a bathtub, Caperton, let me know.
I'm filling that sucker.
Okay, I don't ever want to hear you two say that again.
Hey guys, it's Logsdon, not log jamming.
That's right.
Oh, never mind.
Sorry.
I'll still share the tub with you. I don't know.
Well, we can pour it into vessels and drink it.
again.
I'll share my tub with all you guys.
There's room for everyone.
There's room in my tub for everybody.
Okay, I'm going to hit this again.
Is that double secret probation?
I'm going to hit it again, okay?
There's an ankle bracelet in my future.
I give the log jam and bathtub beer a 5.
There you go. Wow. That was really long.
I don't even know what to
Sorry about
say
that.
now after
a long
that.
burp.
I'm sorry, America.
Yeah, no. Well, yeah, but okay. So
Stinko's in here.
okay, so let me focus. This is my first taste of Logsdon Farmhouse ales. There's been hype,
Yep.
lots of hype.
It was mine too. I'm glad I love it because I
And-
loved them already.
Right. Well, I
He
mean,
loved them before he knew them.
the pedigree about
Exactly.
this beer alone and this brewery would lend itself for greatness,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
yeah, you could say that and then
Sure.
stuff could happen. But this was just absolutely stunning. Although really, I'm like looking at the label and wanting to think of
Yeah.
Swiss Miss chocolate for some reason. I know I'm
It
weird.
features
People are
Mount
knocking
Hood.
things over.
Yeah.
This beer is so good.
Mount Hood with the Farmhouse. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
it's a gorgeous label.
It's so
Mount Hood hops.
Mount Hood is.
Mount Hood Rats.
probably.
Hood rats.
It is
Hood
so
rats
beautiful
everywhere.
though. It's
Hood rat, hood rat.
it's creamy, just creamy enough.
Ain't nothing
It's
but a hoochie mama. Hood rat, hoochie mama.
it's
We did drink it before the Best Buy date.
which that's good. That's
I
a
don't
plus.
think this show
It's
is
always
before its
confusing.
Best Buy date.
I didn't know Best Buy put dates on beers.
It's not just electronics; they care about beer too.
That's right.
I
Get
guess
the
so.
Geek Squad
Beer
out here.
Geeks, Beer Geek Squad.
Okay. Anyways, so besides,
Come on, Julie.
Yeah,
Sorry,
let's
Julie.
go.
Let's get
Sorry.
rid of it.
Sorry.
Spit out your rating.
This is
Come
starting-
on.
this is
What are
starting to
we-
fall
This isn't
apart.
Mount Hood. We got things to do here. We
Yeah.
got places
Oh
to
my
go.
gosh.
We got like 20 more beers to rate.
Okay.
here.
All right. So, despite it being just this like really beautiful, creamy, easy drinking beer, it is the balance is such a key word, and it has all of that. I mean, there's a lot of love that went into this, and you could tell. I mean, this is not one of the cheaper beers that you could find on the shelf, mind you, but for the amount of money one would pay to get a bottle of this, to me, it is so worth it. And I'm sure everyone's going to echo that. It's so quality. There's a lot of love and care that went into this. And I would imagine would have gone into everything of theirs. So that being said,
if only they would send us all the rest of their beers so we could.
There's really only one way to know for sure.
Yeah.
We're talking to you, Log Jammin'. Send us the best from your Mount Hood rats.
Yes.
But I think what really kind of blows me away is, yes, this is oak aged, but it is so subtle. It is not in your face. And I'm so in love with that, because there's so many oak aged Brett beers and funky beers where you're tasting the oak, and this is not that. It's beautiful.
Touches on everything.
I just thought you were saying oak-aged, not oak-aged. I was like, wow, what is an oak-age? And how does that pertain to this
It goes
product?
in your ear. That's what they make.
Caperton, I'm pss, pss, pss.
Wow. Okay. Anyways, I'm giving this a... Wait till he pours.
Speaking of yeast cultures.
Yeah. Okay. I'm giving this a 5.
Oh, burn.
Here you go.
Poor good old boy Dave just got the last of the last. And it
Well,
was,
somebody drug out her rating for so long, I got thirsty and
he
drank.
turned and turned and turned, and then
I
a little
am
drop came.
perspiring.
Okay. Good old boy Dave. Talk about the beer.
I think it's really good. It's fruity and yeasty, and I like it, so I give it a 4. That's how
Terse and to the point, baby.
He's a
Kaboosh.
professional.
Okay. That's right. All right.
No, it was very complex. It was a great saison.
Laconic, I
Yes.
think is the word.
Okay. Good old boy Sparky. Now let's get to you. What beer would you like to talk about at the moment?
I think I'm going to start off with, full disclosure, I completely screwed with everybody at the table.
He did.
Yeah. I threw a beer
What
out.
a screwer.
Yeah. And I mostly identified it properly as what it is. But I had everybody taste it, and I didn't tell them where it came from precisely. So it actually comes from a brewery here in town, Fat Bottom Brewing. And
Bottom girls, you make
exactly. So this is from there's a local brewery here in town called Fat Bottom. I think it was they've been around for a couple of years now, and I think they're generally known for their more daily drinking beers. What would you call them?
Their large bottoms.
Their large bottoms are legendary.
Yes.
Legendary.
Yeah, they're more classic styles of beer.
Yeah, like reds and pale ales and that kind of stuff. Yeah. So this is they've got a whole new series of fancy ass beers. This is the Tempest series, and it actually says on the bottle. Actually, that would be appropriate. Fat Bottom's fancy ass beers.
Dude.
Okay, it doesn't actually say that, but if you do decide to change to that, it should.
They'll use it.
And I'll take my credit where credit is due. So this is the Tempest series, Cavalier or Cavalier. Tempest. I see what you did there. So it's a lychee saison, and just reading about on the bottle here. So it's
full of leeches.
Yeah, there are leeches in there?
There's leeches, so give it a nice slimy. No. So it's a saison ale brewed with lychee fruit and Brettanomyces. And it says Josephine Baker broke boundaries in the entertainment industry and served as a voice for human rights across the world. The spotlight is on her vibrant personality and eclectic taste, which serve as the inspiration for this tart saison.
She had a fear of leeches. No one knows that.
It's true, and this beer commemorates it rather well, I think. So, I enjoyed this quite a bit. I thought on the nose, you really get kind of the farm or horse blankety kind of farm smell on it. It was quite bitter, tart, and had this nice Brett dry finish. I thought it was very nice. I'd really like to see more beers of this style from them. And I think overall, I'd have to give this a 4.
Fancy pantsy.
That is fancy. Good old boy Tim. What'd you think of this beer?
I didn't get any leeches on the beer.
What's that on your face, dude? Oh my god!
That's a lychee. It helps with the blood purifying.
Gotcha.
Have you ever had like a lychee? Like, have you ever seen.
fruit?
Yeah.
No.
I've had these little.
Yeah, I've had them.
I've had it in ice cream. That's the first time I ever encountered it when I was a kid in Hawaii, and
What's it look like?
it was kind of like little onions in
It's like red?
Yeah, no, it's white.
yeah, they're white.
White?
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes in a nut, like in an outer shell, and then you peel it back. And I've actually had it. It comes in a can, and it's got a little syrup.
Do you
to
like
it
it in the can?
Fat bottom. Bringing it all full circle, guys. Sorry. Speechless. Everyone was speechless there for a second.
For all your
Just
fancy
circling the
ass
wagons here.
Still speechless,
Circling the ass
actually.
wagons here.
I got nothing. I got nothing. Anyways, it was really
Out of the can.
yes, out of the can.
Syrup.
And a little syrupy, but it was cool though. Almost like, but it's kind of fibrinous.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like
It's a little mango-ish texture.
Yeah. It's not grapey.
Oh, like
It's
the
more
threads.
mango-y. Yeah. But it was good.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
So there's
so Tim, what'd you think?
Well, interesting. I don't
Now that you know,
I don't get the
about
fiber.
lychee.
Yeah,
I don't get the fiber.
Well, you'll know later.
I get about
About an hour from now, you'll know if you got the fiber.
Yeah, so I thought this beer it's very bright. You get the Brett kind of on the end and has like lemon acidity to it. The bottle says it may contain nuts. I'm not getting that. But
really?
Yeah.
I think that's just, from the
From where
production
it's-
facility. But I think
It's a nutty place.
it brings to mind Josephine Baker and the work that she did. And
You tasting that in there?
yeah, I am. I get a little more in the aroma.
Because it's zesty.
Exactly.
Nice.
You know.
Takes a fiery.
Makes me want to do jazz hands.
Has a little pepper in it.
Za-
I get
da-
some of
za-
that pepper. I don't know, the pepper saison flavor maybe. Yeah, overall I gave this beer a 3.
I was kind of blown away by this because this is so out of the wheelhouse of what Fat Bottom does. So this one really surprised me. I thought it was very tasty though. Creamy and a little tartness, but the tartness came from the lychee. So yeah, I totally get that. And not many people experiment with lychee fruit. So that's really intriguing that for them to be new to this kind of stuff, that they would pick a lychee fruit. I thought that, wow, that's kind of badass, Just saying. I mean, I would maybe stick to a strawberry or a blueberry or a raspberry, but here we go with the lychee. So yay, rock on. But I thought it was kind of cool, and I'm giving this a 4. Good old boy Dave, what'd you think of this beer?
I really liked it. I liked the zesty citrus notes like that. I think were like kind of dominated the front part of the flavor, and then as it kind of finished out with that sort of Brett mouthful of hay kind of flavor. But that's not a bad thing. I mean, I'm seriously that's
barnyard.
yeah, barnhouse, farmyard,
Horse blankets.
House.
stanky. That I really liked. I think this is a really nice example of a good fruited Brett beer, and I gave this a Suds rating of 4. Good job, Sparky.
Good old boy Caperton, what did you think of this beer?
Well, this was a big surprise for like everyone else. I guess I'm not super surprised. I mean, they've got a lot going on. It's not that crazy for them to make a great Brett saison.
Yeah, I agree.
know?
It's not like they've just done
So,
nothing. Yeah, they've shown some ability
and
to
I
expand.
think they kind of nailed it here. I mean, I'm getting a lot of nice saison notes. There's a phenolic peppery thing going on. There's a little bit of tartness and a little bit of fruity, and it finishes with a nice, just like Dave just said, to echo him, it finishes with a nice Brett finish there. And I having trouble coming up with anything bad about this beer.
Come on, do it. Say something bad.
So
Tell us you hate it.
That said, got a nice body.
Tell us,
you know,
tell us it doesn't look nice in those pants.
Tell us what it did to
baby,
you.
you got a nice body.
Especially the fat bottom.
And
It was corduroys.
I'm not sure. I'm getting a ton of the fruit, but I do get something there. I mean, it's. I guess I need to revisit the fruit, but it's whatever it is. It's perfectly complemented by the Brett, I think, and I'm going to give this a 4.
Nice.
Way to go, Sparky.
Yay, Sparky.
Better than the last one.
Way to go! Yeah, way to go, Fat Bob.
Well, there was that other one he brought, but
We shan't speak of it.
anyways, okay, moving on. Let's talk about good old boy Tim and what,
it sucks.
and what he brought.
I think it sucks.
What'd you bring in there, buddy?
What did I bring to the table? I brought the D9 Systema Naturae.
What?
Which, yeah, it's Latin for the nature of the systems,
Very good.
maybe.
Yep.
Okay.
It says so on the bottle.
Where's D9?
System of Nature. D9 is out of Cornelius, North Carolina.
That's my middle name, guys.
Are you serious? That is a fantastic middle name.
Cornelius.
Good old boy,
Wow.
North Carolina.
Oh, I
Cornelius.
thought you meant D9. I was going to, dude,
Thought he
that is
meant
awesome.
North Carolina.
Fair enough.
Wait, is in Cornelius Vanderbilt?
As in Cornelius, the guy in Planet of the Apes. Yeah, I was
Oh.
named after him.
Wasn't
No.
Cornelius
I
the guy,
predated him.
the guy that found the Island of Misfit Toys on the Rudolph the
Yukon
Red-Nosed-
Cornelius.
Yukon
you're
Cornelius.
speaking
That's
of.
who I'm
Yes,
referring to.
Yeah. These a lot of fist fights in school over all these characters, guys. Thanks.
Wow.
Did they call
Sorry,
you
I
corny?
interrupted.
You're kind of a big dude. I'm not sure I would go up against you in the fist fighting.
That's why he got so big.
You wouldn't
from all the fight.
you wouldn't fight a guy named Cornelius? I mean, come on.
Think about it.
It's kind of the boy named Sue scenario. It's really kind of.
He grew up fast and he grew up mean.
I'm the end of the Cornelius line. For sure. I'm not going to saddle.
There's
a
no
child
more
with that.
Nelius.
I was in the 3rd grade before I could spell it, you know?
I'm not sure where
I'm
Cornelius.
not sure I could spell it now.
All right. Well, we'll be right back after this brief interlude.
Just the destination, but baby, the whole elation of riding down this lover's avenue. As slow as a willow blows, or as fast as the whirlwind grows, we glide beneath the stars in cobalt blue. Look to the left, to the right. Keep your eyes on the road, my darling. Wondering if we're only passing through. Open roads and open windows. My hand is yours forever, sweet love. Our eyes ahead on these back roads with a view.
Welcome back, everyone. So we're doing a bottle share, and we are talking about good old boy Tim's System of Nature.
System of Nature D9. The System of Nature is a series they do with some. I'm going to guess experimental. I think actually they did a lychee one that I've had before. I could be mistaken.
Nice callback.
And I think that's the only lychee I've ever had before. But this one is brewed with Cherimoya and elderflower. And Cherimoya, Sparky, you might have a little more knowledge about this fruit. I know nothing about it.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's completely made up. It doesn't actually exist. No, it's I think like what they call it, the custard apple.
Custard apple, that's true, yeah.
It's got to be used or processed pretty darn quickly. I don't think it has a super long shelf life.
Yeah, it must have a weird color. On the bottle, it shows like a green skin, but this beer is pretty red.
Yeah, where did that come from?
I'm not really sure.
Well,
Blood.
does the elderflower, does that have
yeah.
a redness
It's
to
kind
it?
of
Does it?
Does it?
a pinkish, I thought. Maybe I'm full of it there.
Well, I don't know. Anyways, I've never had elderflower on its own.
And you probably wouldn't consider it's supposed to be native to Ecuador, Colombia, Peru, and Bolivia.
I definitely haven't had it.
The
Then.
elderflower or
The
the
Cherimoya.
Cherimoya. Okay.
Well, I think they have it in Florida too.
They do, Florida.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Apparently.
It's almost like a different country.
Sure.
Sometimes it's.
Florida.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, it's interesting tasting these beers with flavors that you don't really know exactly what they are. You've never
it's
had
really
them
tough
and
to pull it
shoot
out
them
of
on their
there.
own. But it's very fruity, for lack of a better word, and sour. Go figure.
Crazy.
I get a slight like acetic note on the nose and flavor, but nothing overpowering and too off-putting. But I guess if someone made some Cherimoya something, I would try it. It's pretty tasty.
Sure.
It's pretty, I don't know, fruity. I guess it's a fruit and has seeds.
It is a fruit. It has seeds. It reminds me, the outer covering of it reminds me of water chestnut.
Yeah,
or of horse chestnut, sorry.
Horse chestnut.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's something that used to be, I don't know if you guys have any down
Never
there.
The big
heard of
green
that.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
and they're
have
kind of
those.
spiky.
That's
Yeah.
a crab apple.
No, that's different.
Anywho.
We
Yeah.
had those.
Yeah,
Or
so
a
the
horse
horse
hedge
chestnuts are these like really gorgeous
Horse
brown
nut.
chestnuts, right? That are encapsulated in this
Okay.
like fibrous-y greeny thing with spikes on it. This
It does look like that.
yeah.
Back to today. What did you think about the Cherimoya?
I gave it a 4.
Jesus. Caught up in chestnuts and crab apples and
ShamWows,
Horse
Yeah.
nuts and crab trees.
probiotics.
D's nuts.
Hood rats.
Hood rats. Yes.
Julieanna, what did you
What
think?
did you think?
Oh, thanks for asking, guys.
System of
Well, we
nature.
didn't really want to know, but you're in that chair.
Whatever. Okay. So I thought this was really pretty. It's tart, not overly tart. It's fruity. There's a little funk in there. I just thought this was a really neat beer. I don't know if I know enough about elderflowers to know what it tastes like in this beer, but I'm sure it's there and I'm just not picking it up, so I apologize. I do get this like kind of appley, like tart appley sort of thing going on, which I
Yeah.
can only assume would be this Cherimoya thing.
Custard apple.
Custard apple.
ShamWow.
Okay. Yeah, ShamWow. But I thought this was a really good beer, and it's making me want to get some more from D9 and try some more from D9. So thank you for bringing this, and I'm giving it a 4. Good old boy Dave, thoughts?
Well, the first thing that I got out of this was the acidic nature in the nose, but it's not overpowering, and it's actually very complimentary to the beer. I do taste the very old flowers. So I mean, they taste like, they've been around the block a few times. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of flowers I like. The older the flower, the softer the petals. So it's good.
Why doesn't anyone have a buzzer that we can push for you?
We know. He has all the power. We have none.
That's the wrong one.
And meanwhile,
was it?
Sparky's trying to figure that out.
I know. There's a lot of thinking.
So anyways, I actually thought this had the right amount of sourness to complement the fruitiness of the beer, and so I gave this beer a D9 ranking of 4 on the Suds scale.
Good old boy Caperton, what did you think of this beer?
I agree with you guys on most of these points. A little acidic, not vinegary though.
No.
It avoids that.
Yeah.
And that's definitely where it leads. As far as the elderflowers go, it does remind me a little bit of Anne from Saint Somewhere. Just a little bit. And I think that
we
might
can't
be
go an
Was she
episode
in-
without
was she
talking
in the-
about Bob.
Yeah. Saint Bob uses the elderflower in that beer, I'm pretty sure.
Dave and Julie say hi.
Hey, Bob, how are you, sir?
Oh my god.
But
This episode was paid for by Bob Seville.
Yeah.
it was all the D9 beers I've had have been,
Really?
equally good, I think.
Cool.
And I'm going to give this beer a 4.
All right, Julieanna.
Sparky,
Sparky.
but we get
Sparky.
confused a lot.
Oh, is that the light?
I'm sorry, I forgot he was there.
Thank
You can
Wow.
talk, Spark. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's true. Real
Respect
quick,
your elderflower.
So on the nose, the three things I wrote was sour acetic fruit. So I think we've all beaten that horse to death. I noticed the body was kind of light and watery too. And there's a lot of great flavors. It's just kind of going all over the place. And I wrote ShamWow because ShamWow.
Good point.
Gave it a 4.
Yeah.
See, we totally could have just gone straight to Julieanna.
Could have.
We learned nothing there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, thanks for killing that 30 seconds.
That's what I'm here for.
Ooh,
God bless America.
okay. So now it's my turn. Hi.
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 Hello.
Hey, what's up, Hello?
Hello.
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 Yes.
Ole,
Okay,
ole,
so-
ole, ole.
Back when I was visiting the Familia, I saw this bottle and didn't know what it was. So
Is that
I
the
thought
bathroom?
No.
Is it a euphemism?
No, but I happened to get this back in Pennsylvania because I do not know that we can find it here in Tennessee, but that's okay. This is from Année Brewery in Niles, Illinois, and forgive me, guys, if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly.
It's Niles.
Niles? Not okay.
Kidding.
It's actually pronounced ShamWow.
Anyway, I'm sure it is.
The ShamWow is silent.
I'm sure it is. So they're a Chicago burb, and they really don't have much about this beer on their website, except that there's many of them. So this is Le Seul number 3, which is an American wild ale fermented with blackberries, 6.5%. And they have had many more since using different things. Anyways.
Some of them edible.
Some of them edible, sure. Some of them not. The color on this is really pretty. It's a very light blackberry-ish kind of color as opposed to super dark.
Pink.
Yeah, it's kind of pink.
Kinda red.
It's very tart. It's kind of young sour-y to me, as opposed to been hanging out and aging sour, if that makes any sense. I don't know. This is the first beer that I've had from them, so I don't know what this is like in comparison to others. For the super tart person in me, I really dug it because it is super tart. The fruitiness is there. The funk is a little bready for me, if that makes any sense. So it's bready funk, but not bad. Not bad.
Bread or Brett?
Bread.
Bread?
Yeah.
Bread.
I'm being serious.
As in
Yeah.
loaf of bread.
Thank you, Tim.
Bready funk? What does that mean?
Bready funk.
Like
It's
it's,
me.
Like bread with that.
I mean, I definitely got a lot of bread in it. I mean, that was one thing that I wrote was
I wrote
bready
wheat.
Yeah.
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 Same thing.
I get that.
So
With
I'm
the
just
funk?
yeah. Well, but it's funky too.
Like funky bread?
Okay.
Yeah. Funky
Okay,
bread.
I'm down.
Artisanal bread.
Yes. Funky
true.
artisanal
The good stuff.
bread.
The
yes.
good stuff.
The good stuff.
good
The
stuff.
good stuff.
I hear ya.
So I'd be interested to see what kind of strains of things they were using in this. Because it's very distinctive, but it's a little different than what I was used to, if that makes any sense. Anyways, I dug it and looking forward to trying some more of their stuff, and I gave it a 3. Good old boy Dave, what'd you think of this beer?
Well, I really like blackberries, and you get that flavor. It's almost like blackberries, though, that are almost ripe because of the sourness of the beer. I get more Brett with the T funk at the very end, but I get what you're saying about the bread because there's some of the malt flavors in there and everything. But I think this was a very good beer, and I gave it a 3 as well.
Good old boy Caperton, thoughts?
Yeah, I got. I'm picking up a lot of green apple and definitely the blackberries, both with the smell and the taste here. I'm gonna agree with good old boy Mike, who's not here in the room right now, but he was earlier, dropped by, and he said this tasted a lot like a Berliner Weiss to him, which they listed as an American sour or
American Wild Ale.
Yeah, American Wild. And either way, it's a little thin on the body, but that's forgivable given the style. And it's enjoyable. I would definitely like to investigate more beers from this brewery, and I gave it a solid 3.
Good old boy, Sparky.
So let's see. I got on the nose, I almost got like a medicinal note. It was kind of weird. But on the palate, I got tons of wheat / bread, tart berries. I didn't realize it was blackberry until after the fact. But yeah, I mean, it was really good. It was decent. I give it a 3.
Good old boy, Tim.
I really enjoyed this beer. Like Caperton or Mike or everyone echoing that segment. I thought it was a little maybe young or a Berliner, but I don't think you have to have your beer in a barrel for a year to make it good necessarily. I think this is really well executed. I almost thought it was cherry actually before. Now I kind of can see the blackberry a little bit more, but even some green apple. It had some really interesting fruit flavors, and I'd like to try more stuff from Année. I gave this a 4.
Cool.
Good point, Tim. My buddy Aaron has often pointed out older isn't necessarily better with a lot of things.
True. Very true.
If it's well done, it's well done.
Yeah.
True story.
Okay, so let's get to good old boy, Sparky.
No, go past this. Past this part.
So this is a cool
In fact,
beer.
never play this again.
So this is a cool beer that good old boy Kendall dropped off, and I just think this is the coolest idea for a beer ever. So basically, it was a collaboration between Off Color Brewing and Miller.
Yes, you heard that right, folks.
I know, right?
Miller
It's a sign of
Miller.
the apocalypse, and just such a cool beer. So basically, what they did was the Miller team came to Off Color and then basically brewed this beer on Off Color's system using what basically are the base ingredients for Miller High Life, only there was a twist. It is actually...
if you've got the time, we've got the beer.
That's beautiful. Thank you. That's very nice. So they fermented it with a house blend of wild indigenous yeasts and acidifying bacteria. And then it was bottle conditioned with champagne yeast.
Nice.
I got to tell you, what a weird idea. I mean, thank God they didn't. I love this beer. I could drink the hell out of this beer.
Yeah. If only Miller was
I'm
doing
gonna drink
this
a little
all
more.
the time.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna
If
take.
they just let some Brett into their High Life tanks,
Could you imagine? Right.
Right.
But kind of a cloudy opacity to it. It's kind of nice and cloudy. I really like if I had an unlimited supply of this. That's like
You'd be okay.
We can get a bathtub.
let's
He'd never
do
leave
this.
the house.
Jump in the bathtub with
But
us.
it's just sour, tart, and clean. I mean, I think everybody has that iconic flavor of High Life in their mind, and it's like that meets wild yeast is kind of what it comes down to. It's tart, it's clean. I got a little bit of spiciness, and again, I just could drink the hell out of this beer. I have to give it a 5. I really enjoyed it, and thanks to good old boy Kendall for bringing that by. Yep.
Good old boy, Tim, your thoughts quick.
I thought that it was light, lemony, and I don't know, the label, the story, it's all really fun. And sometimes that's all that matters. That's what it's all about. And I gave it a 4.
I loved it. I want more of it. Yep, 5.
It's awesome. I'll give it a 5.
Good old boy, Caperton.
I'm going to go with a 5 as well. It's just a neat story to the beer.
Yeah, and it's really good.
It's delicious.
It's as solid as hell,
Yeah.
And all of that comes through for sure.
Slight
is.
acetic note. Anyone get that?
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally good, though. Totally good. Well, everyone, that's another ending for another great, amazing Suds episode. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and you can catch all of our episodes online as well as on SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, YouTube, Google Play, PRX, and Spreaker, our native media host. iTunes, Google Play, and our own Android app are the easiest ways to enjoy the show on your phone. Just search for Sip Suds Smokes on iTunes or in the Google Play Store.
We love your feedback, and you can reach us online at info@sipsudsandsmokes.com. Our daily tasting notes flow out on Twitter and Instagram every day at Sip Suds and Smokes, and our Facebook page is always buzzing with lots of news. Please take the time to rate this episode. If you're listening online, 5 is the magic number.
Yes, 5. Give us a 5. Well, I want to thank all of my buddies for being here again today. Good old boy Dave.
Now you know the rest of the story.
Wow.
The man of nowhere.
The man himself.
Wow. It's pretty darn cool. Good old boy Caperton.
Hey, this was fun. Thanks. It was a blast sharing beer with you guys.
Aww. Good old boy Sparky.
Everything I do gonna be funky from now on.
We can tell.
Yes. Good old boy Tim.
Hello.
Well played.
Wow. I'm so lucky. Well, this is good old gal Julieanna. Keep on chuggling, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This has been a one-tan-hand production of Sip Suds and Smokes, a program devoted to the appreciation of some of the finer slices of life. From the Dude in the Basement Studios, your hosts, the Good Old Boys, will see you all next time.